the way to the max.
We
Turned up by the way to the max.
We turned up, yeah.
Turned up by the way to the max.
We turned up, yeah.
Turned up by the way to the max.
We turned up, yeah.
Turned up by the way to the max.
Ay.
This shit slap, this shit black.
shit
Tell the
black,
DJ, won't you bring that back?
Bring
Turn
that
this
back.
motherfucker up, had the whole club spank.
Yeah, the booty is a phenomenon, and that book. Like, I moved to LA in 2011, and I met the lady who wrote the book back, like the end. And she was at the club, and she was like, "I got this book." Everyone was hollering at her. She had this big booty too, and she was like, "I got this book. Don't judge a booty by its cover." I was like, "Don't judge a booty by its cover. Let me read this." And when I say that book, like, and I didn't even have the bread. She was like, "Just read it." I was like, "I write direct plays and stuff." She was like, "Just read it." I was like, "Okay." When I tell you, I've read many novels. I've never read a book that fast. I read all 200 pages that day.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And it had so much grammar errors. She ended up rewriting it, republished and having it. It was terrible errors. Like, it almost stopped me from reading, but it was so engaging. I didn't care about the grammar and the spelling. I said, this book is too good. And she let me put it together. In 2015, shout out to Pamela Chaperon, you know, from Chicago, but I've been living in LA most of her years and stuff. Like, it was an amazing book. Like, you know, quick little story on it. It's about a sweet, innocent girl with a big booty. And, you know, in society, when you got a big booty, you know, people sexualize you and things like that. So she was always surrounded by people sexualizing her, including her mother. So it was like, you know, when your parents and people start projecting things onto you as a kid, it develops something as you get older. So, you know, she was a sweet girl, but when she got older, she started getting high and drunk. She became juicy, which is her talking booty, which controlled her to the point where she'll be so drunk, she'll do shit like do some shit in the club, do some wild shit, take dudes' money and things like that. And she'll sober up, wake up, and don't remember how she had all this money, these wallets and shit like that. Like, she would.
Like her alter ego, like her ego.
Oh wow,
booty alter ego.
And the booty was a character, so when she came Juicy, it was like Juicy took over. It's like, where are the dicks and wallets? Because all her mom used to tell her was like, you better use your booty and make money off of it. So when mom is telling you from a kid all the way to you're about 16 that you need to use your booty, you know, you don't realize how much it's simmering to you until you get drunk. You know, you get drunk, you start bringing out those unconscious things that you didn't know that you was aware of. So it's an amazing story. Like, I really wish we could do more with it, you know? So, you know, shout out to her again. Other than that, thank you for tapping into the Authentic Podcast, Intriguing Nerds. I'm your host, JT, aka Mr. Love Game, here with two special ladies. You know, I want to start with the Swiss Army Queen right here. I've known for a few years. Talented, full of wisdom, great actress, beautiful, eccentric. Will give you the real, you know, a true boss woman. And I'm so glad to get her on the show. She's been on the show in the past, and now she's on as a special guest host for the episode. We'll give it for Swisyzinna. I so wish I had an applause. Like,
oh, that's awesome! What a good intro. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Swiss. And then we got Miss Tiff Talk TV, Miss Tiffany Ram over here. Met this woman years ago, and I still remember the first time I met her. I knew she had. I was like, she got this. She had a confidence, spunk, a presence about her that was memorable, you know. And so relationship built over the years, and I've gotten to see how she's handled life goals, handled relationships out here, tackling her things, perfecting her imperfections, and bringing them up to the light. She can give you a mean ass handstand now. I mean one too, you know. And she's so outspoken, you know. She the psychology work. She'll help make you think about yourself and shit like that. Like, oh damn, you made some sense right there. You know, she's just all around a solid woman. And I'm so glad to have her on too. Miss Tiff Talk TV, Tiffany Ram. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the accountability. Coming with the accountability. True.
Yes. That's why I love about you two ladies. You know, y'all are Y'all not afraid to speak your mind when it comes to the man or the woman on both sides of the spectrum, good or bad, and that's what we need, because a lot of women don't like to take accountability. I want to talk about that. Why is accountability so much for a woman? It seems like it's like kryptonite. A girl will block you if you tell her to take accountability.
Well, I think, in my opinion, in order to take accountability, you have to really be self-aware. And I don't know that it is just about a woman not wanting to take accountability. I think any person who does not know themselves well enough, what are they being accountable for?
Mm-hmm.
If you're walking around feeling like, acting like your poop don't stink, what am I taking accountability for? Everything that I do is right. So what accountability can you possibly be speaking of, right? But if you're someone who is self-aware, then you know the things that drive you, what can make you better, what type of person you are. Because it's a difference between taking accountability and just being like, this is me and this is a part of who I'm going to be. And I know that this particular attribute, I'm not going to change.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on who you're talking to.
Well, I absolutely agree. Like you said, to take accountability does take a huge amount of, insight, right? And self-reflection and the ability to reflect. And also what I say this all the time is, it's not that men or women are any less accountable, but it also is who is trying to hold me accountable. One's not going to take correction or take the accountability from someone they don't necessarily love or respect in that sense. So you have to recognize, do I have this rapport with this person I'm trying to quote unquote, hold accountable in that nature. So a lot of times that's where like men are like, oh, she just want to take accountability. No, maybe she's just not taking the correction from you. And then it takes self-reflection on that person's part, trying to give the accountability in regards to like, wait, why would that person not receive that correction or, constructive criticism from me?
That's real too, you always drop the real shit though, I always said that. I was like, well, with Tiffany, I was like, whether we agree or disagree, I respect your fucking opinion because it always makes sense. For real.
Yeah.
We ain't gotta agree all the time, but if it makes sense, I hear what she's saying. What is it? I wanted to, when you said that, maybe we wanted to get to what I wrote in the segment and talk about honest hoes. I think we need to have an appreciation for honest hoes in society. I think they're very underrated and very underappreciated, and they get judged for being hoes, but honest hoes, not hoeing, honestly. And for speaking from a male perspective, because a lot of men, and we've talked about this over the years, like men like honest hoes who are sexually free and open. And sexually free and open don't mean you're a hoe, but just you're open about you being sexual. Because to me, I would trust a woman more who's open about her sexual ways than a one who acts like she's this goody girl, but the whole time she got this dude she's smashing, this dude smashing the best friend. It's like, that's some hoe shit. That's not honest hoe. That's just hoe shit right there. As the woman was like, yeah, I fucked this dude, that dude, yeah, I did this. You're like, damn, for real? Men respect women like that. Actually, women like that, a lot of guys don't even call hoes. She could fuck 5 dudes that everybody knew. And guys wouldn't even call her a hoe because it's real. But if you fucking me and then you smash my friend and my other friend and try to be slick about it, that's some hoe shit. That's not honest hoe shit. That's just hoe shit.
Well, I like linguistic clarity. So I just want to make sure in regards to this conversation, you're using hoe just basically in regards to like a promiscuous woman, not actually like a girl who sleeps for money, right? That's how we're using hoe in this conversation.
Yeah.
So as someone,
you're right.
My experience, honestly, is men choose to call a promiscuous woman a hoe when they've been told no, or she don't deal with you anymore. In regards to honest hoes, you can be like me, and the times where I was choosing to be, polyamorous, and I'm honest that I have other sexual partners and romantic partners, and you're not the only one. And this is a consensual multiple partner situation where you can have multiple partners. I'm having multiple partners. It's usually never a problem until that person decides they no longer want to be open, right? Until they decide they want to be monogamous. And that's how I approach the conversation. That's how I teach my clients to approach their conversations, is be honest about where you're at. A lot of issues in our society is that a lot of us are having multiple partners and we're just the thing, or we're just the whatever. No, be clear. Yeah, we're not monogamous until we have a conversation that we are. Presume I have other partners, right? But usually where the issue is, particularly with men and women calling other people hoes, is when they decide they want to be monogamous and you don't. Or they decide they want to be monogamous and then you walk away from the situation. Now, because they didn't get their way, they want to slander you by calling you a hoe. And that's the difficulty with being an honest hoe, right? Like, not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to, appreciate or value or respect the way that you move. So honest hoes really just have to be genuinely confident and comfortable in themselves, knowing, hey, I'm actually doing what society isn't. I'm being honest. I'm being safe. I'm being healthy. Because like me, a lot of people judge like, oh yeah, you're a hoe. No, I was polyamorous. My other partners knew the other partners existed. Right. And I'm, using condoms. I'm encouraging people to get tested. Right. But usually our society encourages people to lie. Like, oh, we're dating and you assume as a woman that you're monogamous, but you haven't had that conversation. Now you're mad when you find out there is other women. Well, you never had a conversation about those boundaries or what the relationship is. So now you're telling people he cheated, but really you guys just never said you were actually monogamous. Right. So when I call all that out, because I'm like, to process your trauma, you actually have to acknowledge what really happened.
Yeah, men though sometimes can know how to manipulate situations because, men naturally, we territorial. We could have 10 girls we fucking, but we don't want none of them girls to fuck the guys, anybody else. And it's like, that's kind of selfish. So, it's like, why is you trying to make it be monogamous? Because it's kind of like, you might want to be monogamous or guy might want to be monogamous, but is it because he wants to really be with her? Or is it because he wants her to not feel like she could date other people? There's a lot behind it. Especially when you got a pretty girl that you're smashing on and you want her exclusively to yourself and all. Yeah, you probably gonna try to make her feel like she's the only woman, or if she's not, you still don't want her to do anything. And I think that's selfish on men's end. Here I go pandering, but I'm just keeping it real, like a lot of times men ain't trying to really be serious with a girl, or especially when they just flinging or whatever. They just don't like the thought of another man having her. And I tell them all the time, sometimes they ain't really in love with you. They just they just don't want to lose you to somebody else. The last thing a man don't want is that thought of another man in between his woman's legs or hitting his woman from behind or whatever. That's gonna drive a nigga crazy, especially if he ain't mentally stable, right? Yeah, he might fucking go a little nuts.
Well, right. So, but then that's the reflection of the man, right? And so there's always these conversations, context that comes up in these kind of conversations regards to like fuck boys. Men have to be accountable too. And if you're just telling a woman you want to be monogamous because you're just uncomfortable with her being with other people, but you fully intend on, having sex with other people still, I teach my clients, because again, my background is not in a range of therapies, but one is sex and sexuality therapy. And what comes up is the conversations around, being responsible about your language in relationships and boundaries. If you're a man who knows you want one-sided monogamy, which is you're allowed as the man to have multiple partners, but you expect your female partners not to have other partners, you better just say that. And I have male and female partners who roll like that, right? I have a male friend who's very honest. He's like, I am polygamous, but the standard for my female partners is that I'm their only partner, although I get to have multiple partners. And if that's your boundary, set it. And who's down for it will be down for it, and who's not will move along. But then you know what the agreement is, and everybody knows what they're agreeing to. But that's where like our society has taught men they have to lie to get what they want, and women have to pretend that the boundaries are what they're not. And that's why I just teach my clients to undo that. Your responsibility is to actually communicate the expectations and the boundaries.
I think that's for society on a whole. Women are told to not be sexual, not show their sexuality, like it's looked down upon. And if you are a sexually driven woman, then the term hoe has such a negative connotation to it, whether you put honest in front of it or not, that you don't sit across from a man and say, oh yeah, I used to do this, and that. And then because everyone says you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. And there are a lot of women who have promiscuous past one way or the other with whatever decisions that they've made. And they feel like they pay for it when they decide that they want to be with one person. They do end up going back and paying for all of their past indiscretions. Whereas a man will be like, well, I was a man doing manly things, like that's just what guys do. And I also think that it's unrealistic to say that men accept an honest hoe.
Right. Men, you do not.
I think that's, I do not think that's, I do not think that's realistic, because they might accept her in the sense of she's a great booty call, but they're not accepting her as a whole person and saying she still has feelings. And this is someone that I would allow myself to fall for. And this is someone that I would see a life with, or this is someone that I feel like we could enjoy each other's company on another level. They're not saying any of that. They're saying she's somebody I can smash. And that's it. And then it dehumanizes her. She's no longer a full, well-rounded woman any longer. She's just the honest hoe.
Right.
But women got to stop, because women, here's the thing, it's like a cycle. It's like women want to look good for the men for the most part, and men do things for women. Men, straight men, they driven by women, like getting cars and places and stuff. It's all about oppressing that woman. So it's like, you know, or with some illusions and the lies and stuff, it's like, it's hard for a man to be honest, because honesty don't really, and I said this on a previous episode, honesty don't really get you the cheeks, and most men want the cheeks. It might get you the love, it might get you love in the end, but it ain't gonna get you the cheeks. And we shortcut so much stuff, and even women are really not smashing honest men. They smashing the ones who sell her the dreams, the ones that make her believe that he is who he said he is, even though he's not.
But so you want women to be accountable for men, is what you're saying. So you're not saying a man needs to step up. I'm just asking. You're not saying
I agree.
Men figure out.
Men do need to step up, but I do believe though, because a woman's biggest argument out here is we could date if we don't like him. We could choose who we want to date. That's cool. Date who you want, but when shit hits the fan, don't just put it all on the man. Yeah, he may have cheated. Yeah, he may have lied and things like that. But a lot of times men show these signs right away. But when a woman is attracted to the motherfucker, like, yeah, I'm gonna ignore it. Men tell on themselves so fast. But it's like when the attraction is there, and women too. But if she's looking good, booty popping and shit, men, we're gonna ignore that. Like, I'm trying to hit that. So she might be a little cuckoo or a little weirdo, but I don't care. And it's same thing for a man. If he could be, you could tell he's full of shit, but if he dripping right, smelling good, beard white and all that shit, she gonna probably let that shit slide. And then, 6 months into it, he put it down, and then a year into it, you're like, this nigga changed. I'm like, no, sweetie, men don't change. They just reveal themselves. Women just don't realize the extent that a man will go through to hide who he really is.
But I think that goes back to, not meaning to cut you off, I think that goes back to your first question about being accountability for a woman. If a woman is not self-aware and does not know what she really wants, then it's easy to get trapped in with the thirst trap, with the cologne, with the look good, with the, he can put it down. All of that, all of those are just stages in life that if a woman goes through, and if you start learning yourself, you'll start making different choices. Because at some point, we can only hope, but at some point, we should all make better decisions for ourselves and not do things that will end up being self-harming. Because everything that you described is 100% true, but that's also self-harming behavior.
Well, and also those are by women and men. So I think everything you just described, women and men both do. And the issue that I have with these conversations where it's like women need to be more accountable. What about the women is no, both. Both need to be more accountable. Both need to be, self-aware. And more importantly is that's actually not for each other to call out, right? That's not for each other. That's where it comes, when it's called accountability, self, reflection, that's exactly what it is, self. There's different stages of change. Most people aren't in, the contemplation stage, which is I recognize is their problem and I need to change it, right? We're so quick to say that other person did that. The girl missed the red flags. He was obviously a cheater. Why wasn't she aware? Why didn't she see he was just, putting on for her? That's not your business.
You know why, Tiffany?
That's a self-reflection thing. Like when you're ready, when that girl's ready to stop falling for the dumb dude, and when that ready to stop just chasing booty, when they have that self-reflection to start that process, that's when it will change. And that's what society, these conversations are missing. This is really just society's version of adolescence. All the fuck boy, fuck girl stuff, that's part of your adolescence. Now you can be 40 and stuck in romantic adolescence.
Correct.
But people go through that phase where, I had to learn that. Confidence, it means experience. Most people lack emotional confidence because they lack experience. Right. So until you get to a place where you've made those decisions enough, some people it only happens once and they're like, oh, wait, what I do? I'm gonna change.
Right.
Some people do it 30 times over 25 years before it clicks in their head, like, oh, I'm gonna change something. Because and when you not change the other person, that's where men are always like, oh, women need to be accountable to men. The only person you're responsible for is yourself. Man. Facts. Women. The only person
but you know why we say that though,
the only person you can change is your action.
Tiff, and the reason and this is just my opinion, why it goes both ways, men and women, but I put it mostly on the women because it's way more women than men. And at the end of the day, excluding rape, forceful shit, the woman decides who gets the fuck. If 10 niggas want you, but you want number 11 with the 3 baby mama, guess who's getting that pussy? The nigga with the 3 baby mama. Because it's her choice. So that's what we say women got, because a man I can't just go up to one of you two ladies and be like, I want to marry her. And you're going to be like, you want to marry me? Or you want to get with me? And I could just have you. But if one of you two was like me or another man, be like, hey, you want to get with me? 9 out of 10 times, a man's going to say yes.
But that emotionally, that's where she is, though. Emotionally, that's where that woman is. And until she is no longer in that place, it doesn't matter if the best guy swings in on a rope with a cape and has everything. It will not matter because she's not emotionally ready. Right. So yes, we, as like Tiffany was saying, yes, we have to take accountability for ourselves, but just me, not every other woman, just me. Only thing that I can do is what's right in my life. But when I see, my friends or whatever, and they're going through stuff, at the end of the day, that's where they are. And me telling them 1,000 times, girl, now he is not about to change, has nothing to do with the fact that she wants him to change, that she wants him to be better, that she wants him to be a better baby father, or she wants him to be the boyfriend or the husband, or she wants him to propose. He's never going to do it. Those are just wants. When a woman gets to a place where she decides that she needs a partner and needs a companion in order to help her maneuver through life on a higher level, you start thinking differently. And then you put away, little want stuff. Like, I want millions.
It's
I gotta work
never
towards them.
Too late. And that's where you're going with that. Exactly. That's how you say, oh, it's too late. Nah, a woman can be.
No, it isn't too late, but it might be too late for her for what she may have felt she needed or deserved. That shift could have already passed. Now she might.
No, because people get married at 60, 70, 80 years old. It's when you find it when you find it.
This is true.
You would hope that it would
to the biological clock in a woman's head, 30. Oh my God, I'm not married by 30. Oh my God, 40. I'm still single. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you could get it at 50 or whatever, but in the woman's head, when she starts not feeling like herself, or it's like that could put a lot of pressure to where it creates stress and anxiety, or if she don't heal herself as she gets older, she'll be stuck in her ways that no man would be able to change her.
Well,
no man can change you anyway. No man can change you anyway. No man can change you anyway. True. You have to be with someone that brings out the better you. Because all of us have a better version of ourselves. And when you're with the right person, the better version of you just shows up. And then the things that you didn't necessarily like, or things that you are willing to let go of, it just naturally happens. That's just the way it is. But if it doesn't, when I hear people say, oh, they're stuck in their ways, sure, we all are. There's certain things that we all will not compromise on. It's like, this is me, this is who I am. That's what that is. I had my ex told me, you've been gone too long, and you're so spoiled, and you're so used to men just giving you what you want and whenever you want it. And I'm not going to do that. Well, guess what? then that's a deal breaker. Because me being spoiled ain't gonna change.
Yeah.
I can do it for myself. I'm like, if you can't do for me what I do for me, that's kind
right.
of but
Like, what do you mean?
but that's
It's
not
a
even
deal
a
breaker.
financial tip for me necessarily, but to the emotional aspect, right? Because I am a therapist and I work with voluntary. I work in two different settings. I work in a voluntary setting and an involuntary setting. And with my voluntary clients, that's the benefit, is they're coming to me saying, I want something to change. And when they come to me and they say that, the first thing I say is, are you ready to change? Right? A lot of people come and we all have this mindset of, oh, you know, my family did this and so-and-so did that and my ex did that. I said, that's all good and fine, but I'm not going to be a good fit for you as a therapist if you don't understand that the change that you want starts with you.
Right.
Right? So the only thing you can change is you. Sometimes you can't even change your environment. I would love for you, if you need to change your environment, to change your environment, but some people can't afford that. Or, you know, they're in a situation where they're not safe or don't feel comfortable doing that yet. But typically when we talk about change in your life, the only thing you can change in yourself. So if you want to change in your kind of relationships you have, men and women, I tell them, well, then you're going to have to change something about what you're doing. If you want a different outcome, if you've noticed a pattern in your life, whether it's your family, your friendships, your romantic relationships, you're going to have to change. So you're going to have to be honest with me. And I tell everybody this, if you want to change from your doctor, your therapist or whatever, you have to be honest about the symptoms first. I can't diagnose you correctly. If you come in and just tell me you have a cough, well, that could be the flu, that could be pneumonia, that could be COVID. You got to tell me more and specific. Right? So you have to be honest, raw, wide open, so I can give you the proper instruction of how do we change this. But a lot of people aren't ready for that, and that's why you see all the fuck boy, fuck girl stuff, because it does take a lot of pointing at yourself. If you want something in your life to change, you have to change you.
Yeah, it's all you got to look inside.
Great
and that's what people don't want to do. That's what people do not want to do. They do not want to. They do not want to be self-aware.
And it's right now it's popular. That's the thing, right? Like, ooh, I'm so woke. I'm so conscious. I'm taking self-care for me. And, you know, people be coming to me like, yeah, I self-care. I'm like, but do you? Self-care isn't going to the spa and taking a selfie. I
was just getting ready to say that it is not about putting a face mask on and being like, I did it. I have done it. Like, get your soul together. Get your mind together.
Man, get your soul right. They want to get their bodies right and not their soul right. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Niggas still gonna treat you the same way no matter how fat your ass is. We ain't got no soul behind it. What the fuck? You ain't got no soul, but your ass got all the soul. That's it.
Right.
No soul. Like, what the heck? Chicks are dumb. Sorry, I said chicks, not ladies. Chicks. Man, they be so dumb. It's like, this is why y'all wonder why y'all get caught up in the same situation. Y'all still haven't learned. And your ladies we're going to switch up the topic and y'all got something that y'all.
Well, I had an example, right? Because you were saying honest hoes, right? Or like changing society doesn't let us. And actually one of my favorite, because we have a role model and example. We have a role model and example, and what they've been together now. I think has it almost been 10 years? I'm gonna look on my phone while we talk about it. But Russell Wilson and Ciara. The world hates that they're dating trashy, raggedy men and raggedy baby dads and got herself a respectable man. People cannot get over that. That she's allowed to change. The human experience is to change and mature and adapt. But the world got a problem, and specifically the Black community. And I'm like, isn't this what we're supposed to expect for our queens? To become self-reflective, reevaluate your boundaries, and make different. I'm like, come on, Ciara.
Exactly. Make different choices.
You're allowed to be promiscuous, have a trash baby daddy, and still come up again. If you want to self-reflect, better.
You know what it is, Ciara?
Set new boundaries. Do you?
Ciara broke the matrix mode for certain women like that, because most women like Ciara go for certain trashy niggas like Future and things like that. So when she got from Bow Wow and Future to get to Russell is corny to society. Russell's a good dude, but society, Russell is corny. So when they first got together, it's like, what the fuck she doing with Russell Wilson? He's corny and stuff. And then when they seen the good things that they do now, and this is why I call chicks dumb. Instead of saying they want them a gentleman, they say, I want a Russell Wilson. You mean a gentleman? Like, you got to label him a Russell Wilson. I don't know if y'all seen that, but I've seen so many girls, and you read on their comments, so Ciara, but I need me a Russell Wilson. I need you mean
well, I think that's because people need to identify. They don't know what a gentleman is. So you have to identify it. And Russell has a name. And it's something that they can latch onto. Like I have thousands of friends and they all say, I want a Dewey. Every last one of them.
Oh yeah, because you got a Russell Wilson. You married Russell
I do
Wilson.
Indeed. I do indeed. Yes, I just married mine first.
Dewey.
Yes, Dewey. Like, and I have a lot of friends that are like, oh, I can't wait to have a Dewey. I want a Dewey. So much so that I have friends that have boyfriends that was like, I can't be a Dewey. Like that's literally been a conversation. Mm-hmm. Like I can't be that. They try to take a little nerdy, but just like a guy they probably normally go for, orthodox gentleman, kind of just his own lane, and try to make him be what your husband is. Well, I think that
kind of mold him.
I think that when they say that they want to do it, what they're saying is, I want a man who is going to stand up for me, that's going to protect me, that's going to be trustworthy. Like I don't have a husband, nor do I have friends where I have to be like, you can't be around my man. Like my husband is trustworthy. I can leave him in the house at my homegirl's house and go to the store. He doesn't have to get in the car with me. Right. So I think that there's just qualities.
He is that type of guy too.
There's qualities that they see in him. And I don't know that I know that they're not trying to form their boyfriends into Dewey, but they're saying, hey, my toilet broke and I had to call Dewey to come over here and fix it, and I got a whole man. Right. So when they say, oh man,
that's terrible.
How are you offended? Because that just means you're not doing all the things that you should be doing when you're calling yourself a partner to someone.
Your story, Swisyzinna. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, similar to what Swisyzinna was saying was in regards to the characteristics. And this is something I've definitely had conversations with, particularly like my Black male friends. And, they're actually kind of on the same tip. The people calling Russell Wilsons, the cornies and the doofuses are people who obviously resonate more with futures, right? Men who have the same qualities of Russell don't think he's corny. Why? Because he's a good dad. He's shown up as a stepdad. He has good money management. He makes good business choices. He be champion for Ciara all day, right?
Yeah, he's
showing her up. He's equal to me, and as in Jay-Z's life. Right. So the people who are like, oh, he's corny. What's corny to you? That he makes good life choices? Right.
I'm corny.
He's stable, that he's reliable,
that he's taking care of his family, his children.
So like, what's corny about that? The fact that Ciara got sick of, because the conversation you were saying is like, oh, aren't women, they need to be held accountable for, picking the men that cheat and that ain't nothing or whatever. Right. She did that. She was like, oh, dang, he's a hot mess. I've been dating hot messes. I don't want that no more. And she went and changed it. And now look how the community treated her.
And I
had the audacity to make the change we've been telling y'all to make. And she was like, well, I'm doing it. I'm out here.
I respect Ciara for that too, because she didn't wait till, remember I said too late. Like I said, it's never too late. But when I say too late, I say too late for women who are like, put like this. I'm a guy that dated women that are, quote unquote, they'll give you a chance after they're over the hill. Like they might have curved you over the years, but then after a couple of bad relationships, couple baby daddies or something, or a bad divorce or something. Now it's like where the space they at, not looking the same, not in the same mental space, not in the same physical look or whatever. And now it's like, well, let me give the Russell Wilson a chance now and let him fix my damaged self. Like, no, I don't want that now. I don't want that.
And that's okay.
Right.
And that's okay. But that's okay for the guy.
So she finds it and she's going to
somehow we try to make the guy feel like he's wrong for that though. They were like, well, what does it matter? She giving you a chance now? It's like, wait, I'm supposed to just take her now because she's available now? I wanted her then. I wanted her then before she had kids. Maybe if we had kids together, we would still be together, So it's like, now you want to give me a chance? Like, nah. And I mean, I could love a woman and her kid. I have no problem with that. It's just how you value the man around. Why are you giving this guy? Why are you giving me a chance now? Why? Is it because you realize I'm the best man for you? Or you realize like, oh man, this guy has been there and I should just finally give him a chance. It's like, you're not going to appreciate that. Women don't appreciate men that's just there. If you're not her first or her second choice, she's not going to need a proper appreciation.
I don't know about
Are you
that.
speaking personally, or is this a general?
Let's be open.
Because this feels very personal. The women in my life are making choices like this.
You said women in your life are making choices like this?
Yeah, this sounds very individual.
Yeah, part of it is individual. It's not just me though, but yeah, I can say I experienced it, but I'm not speaking for just me. Because when I say this, sometimes people just make it seem like it's just me. No, if it was just me, I don't really want to speak on. But if it's like more than a handful of guys that go, yeah, I'm going to speak about men are like this. So I'm speaking on other men who have experienced what I'm saying that I experienced, you know, because it's like, and there's some men that love a woman that no matter when she give them a chance, she'll be like, man, fuck, she gave me a chance 10 years later, but I always loved her. Fuck it, I'll make it work. And there are men like that because they really love that woman, not what she did, didn't care who she. There are men who would love a woman, don't care who she fucked, who she did. You know, look, you're the woman that I love, and will be loyal to her. There are men like that, but those are usually men that don't care about society, being accepted, things like that. Those are men that have their own minds. They don't trip. Men who have their own minds are more likely to be more, I guess you said, more loyal, more committed, more in tune with their woman than the men who care about being accepted by society. If a man cares about being accepted, or a woman, they care about being accepted by society, they should make it work because they want the adoration from everybody around them except each other. If that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I can't disagree with people who are getting their outside what's the affirmations from society. I mean, who wants them anyway? Like, it's not even somebody.
Oh Lord, amen.
That's funny.
Right. Who wants them anyway? So it's like, to me, I'm like, well, then let the woman who hasn't figured herself out yet, and the dude that's still out here smashing everything, ain't figured it out. They can do it all day. Just let them go over there and mate with each other, so the people with common sense can find each other.
Right.
You're right.
The issue is,
I think people gotta be more aligned. A lot of people ain't aligned.
Well, indeed, because you have some. That's what I was about to say. You'll have someone who actually wants what's best, and someone is manipulating them to make them believe that they're the best.
Right.
And then you end up in this issue of, like you said, not being aligned.
Right.
There's a lot of beta males out here that they sell themselves as alpha males. Oh my goodness.
Right. Well, and that's where I was going to say, that's my disclaimer about abuse. And for men and women, but it's a particular strategy by men, is to pump up the woman in the beginning to make her feel outrageous and great and euphoric, to bait.
And keep that same energy.
Slowly, no, not to keep that same energy. And once the bait is taken, whether it's moving in or getting married or having a child, is when the emotional, financial, and physical abuse starts, and that cycle, which is he baited you, making you think like super, like I'm the best and I'm invested in you and I love you, until the bait sinks, and now it's emotional abuse to make you feel less than, comments about your weight, telling you you're bad with money, putting you on an allowance, degrading you. And that's the cycle of abuse. If you look up cycle of abuse and you Google the image in the cycle, that's what it is, right? And a lot of people have mastered that strategy in relationships, and it is an abusive cycle. And so I definitely make sure I assess that with men and women that I work with, whether they're the abuser or the abused. Like, where do you fall in the cycle? Have you experienced this? Because if you want different relationships, you have to break this, right? If you find a lot of affirmation from the outside world, you make yourself a victim to either being a victim or being the abuser. If you're very concerned about the outside world, you're likely to be abusing people around you because you need that validation and recognition. Me, I'm upfront. Again, I'm a very, very independent, solid woman. When I decide I'm not ready for a relationship or I don't want one, I am polyamorous. I communicate that I am consensually in other sexual relationships, one or more at a time, that kind of thing. So like when people get an attitude, yeah, I've been called a hoe publicly and privately. And I'll be like, and that word doesn't hurt my feelings because I understand society means that's promiscuous and sexually autonomous.
Man, that's real shit, sis.
So I'm not mad. You can call me a hoe, go for it. The people who deal with me though, like you said, men, I can't deal with man who needs outside validation, because you are going to find yourself in a social setting where someone who got their feelings hurt by me is going to be like, oh, you with that hoe? And he going to have to stand for him and be like, and what? Tiff, what? What do you say about Tiff? Because any man who deals with me knows if someone else is calling me a hoe, it's probably because I hurt their feelings. Right? I didn't want them. And now you standing strong in a room with a woman who makes 6 figures, holding her own, who is sexually beautiful in all its fullness. And that person didn't have me. They don't have me now. And so, but if you're a weaker man, if you're a man who cares, whether I've slept with a friend of yours or, someone in our network, like, yeah, I'm not the one for you. And I just tell people that when I'm dating. I'm like, hey, if that's going to bother you, I ain't the one for you. And I'm sure Ciara and Russell had that conversation. Hey, people going to be calling me hoes for the next 40 years because I have a baby by future. And Russell had to be like, okay, well, what are we going to do?
Right. And that's why real men respect him.
I'm like, how can he be a simp when he had to sit there and know they've been together for over 8 years and people still talk about she a hoe because she had sex with her baby daddy? And that's your wife. It takes a tough thing to be like, hoe, like, that's my wife.
Yeah.
Hey, she ain't doing it now. So what, nigga? What? I don't care what she did before me. I don't care. That was 2 years before me.
And you shouldn't.
I take these hoe skills right into my wife, into my husband's bedroom. Right? Okay. I was married for 3.5 years. We were together for 10 years. I'm like, hold a husband. Like, my husband get this hoe now. Like, right. All those hoey things, he getting exclusively. Be mad.
Right.
Right? You just mad because all the hoe is now confined. Like, you don't get it anymore. That's why you mad. All those things you remember, like, yep, someone else is getting it, not you. Man,
these lovely ladies right here just dropping some gems. We're going to come back in a segment and bring in our guest. Her name is Keel Sanders, very beautiful young lady, and we're hoping these 2 ladies right here drop some gems on her that we can, and drop some gems to you guys that could just carry over until then. So we'll be right back, and thank you for tapping in. Thank you for tapping back into the Authentic Podcast, Intriguing Nerds. I'm your host, JT, here with 2 special guest hosts who just killed that first segment. When I say kill, they lit that shit on fire. I'm sweating over here because they killed it on fire. Miss Swisyzinna and Miss TiffTalkTV, welcome back. Whew. How y'all feel after that? Y'all smoked it, like, for real.
Feel good. It was good, honest conversation. You can't ever be mad about good communication, can you?
Especially when a man and a woman, with a black women can actually have healthy debates, agree to disagree without attacking each other. Man, yeah, winning. Nothing better. Winning, yes. We got our special guest on. I actually met this woman. I think because she's a woman now. I met her. She was like a young girl. And I just moved to LA. I was like 2 years to LA. I was running the theater in Long Beach, and the guy was like, put some shows together, and things like that. So I was doing like rap showcases and like children's shows and like poetry slams. I was doing different events there. I remember seeing, she probably remember this. I remember meeting this girl on the bus, and she's probably like 18, 19. And she's like, yeah, I'm a rapper and stuff. I was like, she name's like Keel Bill. I was like, okay. But one thing I remembered about her, and we didn't talk for a while after that, but one thing I remember about her was her passion, her drive. I was like, this is like ambitious ass young girl right here. Like, I don't even know if she's even dope, but she might be because she sounds so driven, like she vicious. I need to hear some of her shit. So, over the years, I think that was 2012. So now, 9 years later or so, she's grown to a beautiful lady, and I've seen her, and she just stands out amongst a lot of my followers. So I always try to reach out to her and just, we chop it up and things like that. And I was like, I wanted to bring her on the show because I feel like she has a special energy about her that I feel like you 2 ladies like and the world would like to see. So give it up for Miss Keel Bill.
Hi. Nice meeting you all. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really excited.
No problem. Should I call you Keel Bill? Keel Sanders?
You can call me Keel. It has like my government on here.
I saw that. This is my first time seeing it. Oh,
But
it's
I was like, you can
okay.
change it, honey. You can go and click and edit and change your name on it.
I see. I don't even know how to do that. So I'm like, woo.
Off screen, I'll type you the instructions.
Mhm.
Okay.
You press the
Out here
button
in the
as
street, you don't
participants,
want to.
participants and rename, and then you just put that rename in. You know, say that
Okay.
subtly. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. Miss Pretty Privilege, what's going on? That's what I think of when I see you, Pretty Privilege.
Why do you think that?
Because, you know, certain women that, because they're so beautiful and gracious that they wanted to, they could get wherever they want in the world. And you strike me as a woman that can get wherever you want. But I also learned that you're also a woman that seems like, for your age, is content with, you know, being on your own. You seem like your own wallflower. Like, you don't seem like dependent for a man. Like a lot of women, like in their 20s and stuff, you know, that like feel like they have to have somebody and things like that. And you seem like you carry yourself with a certain elegance and grace that is like, much as you would like one, it seems like you don't need one and you're not bothered by having one or not having one, you know. So I guess that's a question, comment.
She said,
I think
Am I
that's
wrong?
very
I just-
interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. You can continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that was kind of a question. I was asking, like, am I kind of correct on that, or that's just I'm just saying if I'm meeting the right vibe through your social media.
Okay. Well, I think that is a wonderful question, and I think it's something that we all should most definitely engage and talk about because social media is social media. Social media is not real life. It's not reality. It's a facade. But what I can say as far as what is reality is you did describe it right as far as me as a woman. I'm very content, very confident, very independent, don't need a man. And what I mean by don't need a man, I just don't need financial help. If I can say that, but every woman needs a man. Mm-hmm. Every woman needs a king. But as far as right now, I am just living my own true life, true self, enjoying it. And like I stated, social media is social media. So you can be pretty all day, but I do feel like pretty privilege is real. But I can say that it's not necessary for me. Because I go out and go get it. I don't need to be pretty to go get the things that I can go get, or need a man to validate me as being beautiful or pretty to give me anything, or for me to be able to do certain things. So I'm kind of 50-50 with what you're stating. But me personally, I don't really see me as being a pretty privileged kind of woman.
And I respect that. You see, I commented, it was like about a month ago or so. I was like, you give wife vibes and things like that. I never give bullshit compliments, even if it comes off the way. If I say something, I mean it. And you know, you do give off like these two ladies right here. These are wives, like that's been wives, and one who is a wife right now. You know, certain women that you just know, like that's a wife right there. There's girls that can be girlfriends you hit. There's girlfriends you could smash. There's girls you can make your girlfriend, but it's not too many you see like. That could be someone's wife right there. So it's like, I try to throw that affirmation to certain women like that to let them know that they may see it themselves, that another man sees it as well. And like, look, you are worthy of the way you carry yourself. And you do carry yourself like a wife. I just call you pretty privileged because you just, if you wanted to, there's certain women that can just get it. Because pretty privilege is real. I don't know if y'all believe that. Pretty privilege is real. But I don't even get that. I want the two ladies to talk to you if they got anything to ask first before I go further.
Well, I would say that, yeah, there's perks to being beautiful, right? Like, you know, if I get stopped for a traffic stop and I'm just nice and smile and follow their directions, likely to get out of a ticket. Now, keep in mind, you can be ratchet and popping off, though. You can be pretty as you want to be and be mean, and you're not going to get it. So I think the conversation is, do you have that attitude that goes with your looks, right? And does that attitude, everybody has a preference right? So I know what I prefer and what the kind of man I prefer is, man and woman prefer is, and respond well to. And if I choose to finesse that, I can. Yes, my looks are part of that. But also, I've had the conversation with you in regards to, it doesn't necessarily mean that life is better, right? Privilege means this benefit just because of this perk, right? White privilege, you're treated better just, or have a better advantage just because of that. Yeah, do I have an advantage because I'm attractive? Absolutely. Yes. But the problem is there are also setbacks to that, right? And we've talked about that. Like, yeah, I'm more likely, if I'm nice and I smile, I am more likely to be treated better in a restaurant or, in hospitality situations or, depending on the job interview. But there's also more likely to be sexually harassed and sexually abused in general, right? And to feel like we are, you have to be very aware as a woman, particularly a pretty woman, of the fact that you're going to get attention unsolicited all the time, no matter how I look, right? My curve in my face, I get hit on more in my yoga pants and a t-shirt than any other outfit. Because men are like just confused that I look like this without makeup on, right? So I can be minding my business, running into 7-Eleven, and that's where I get hit on the most. And I'm like, hey, I'm just here to get,
It goes deeper than that, though, Tiffany. It goes deeper than that because men know when a woman is not all makeup and stuff, she's more approachable, even though she might not want spoken, but she might, because there's been times where you can hear a woman say, oh my God, this dude hot. I had my sweatpants on and a tank top, and he just made me feel so beautiful and stuff. I'm like, well, you got that big ass booty, ain't hard to miss that. So yeah, guy's visual. He's seeing that ass. He don't care you got on some fucking sweatpants. He's still gonna try to holler. So a girl be like, oh, I feel so ugly. I'm like, yeah, but he ain't looking at the ugliness. He knows if you put that makeup on and shit, you gonna be fly. And when a woman's dressed up fly, she is a little bit more intimidating to approach because she's on her shit. You don't know if she's gonna dish you or whatever, but if she in a fucking laundromat and run to the store and fucking with a bonnet on or something and a tank top with her breast, no bra on and a big breast, that's gonna entice a man.
And that's what you're saying, that undid what you just said, which was like, if we're dressed up a certain way, we might be intimidating, and that's it. Like pretty privilege.
But that's a privilege, though.
Me, when I'm done up in
my
heels, only certain men approach me, right? Because the dude who it feels less than because of that outfit and those heels isn't approaching that because why? He doesn't feel worthy. That doesn't mean I might not speak to him or date him, but if you feel that way about yourself on the inside, that has nothing to do with if I'm pretty or not. That has to do with you as the man approaching.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've dated every spectrum of income. My ex-husband, like I said, my testimony is I made more than him for 9 of the 10 years that we were together, and that nobody ever knew. That was not their business. I mean significantly more than him, but that was not anybody else's business than ours. You know what I'm saying? And that's a misconception. Like, oh, Tiff Talk, you're so high maintenance. Just because I'm presentable, because I make a certain amount of money, because you have made that generalization about me, has nothing to do with the way I conduct my own personal relationships.
Absolutely,
you projected that onto me, not me.
And I think it's retarded. Listen, if you feel like. If a man feels like a woman is only approachable when she's dressed down, you're not the type of man that I want to talk to anyway.
Absolutely.
Because when I'm fully dressed and I walk into a place, I need to know that you're going to be able to stand on the side of me confidently. I don't have time to stroke your ego because I don't care what room I walk into, somebody is going to look, somebody is going to try to holler. And I got a whole husband. And they know that. And it's not going to stop anyone. But because I'm married to the man that I'm married to, it doesn't bother him. Like Julia will be like, oh, yeah, I saw him. And keep right on. Because it doesn't mean the confidence is there within the relationship, within the partnership. But that's you sitting back and allowing your man to be a man and choosing the right one. Because how dare you?
Do people try you a lot?
Like try to talk to me?
Do men try you because they see your husband and they think like, because from the outside looking in, they thinking, oh, what's she doing with him? So do they try you like in front of him or like when he steps away and stuff?
No. I don't think that they look at, because that would be their first mistake. That would be their first mistake would be to look at him and then go, oh, why are we, first of all, this man makes more money than anybody. So listen, it's and he look good. And he's attractive, and he's a gentleman, and he opens the door every time I get in the car, and he closes it behind me.
So he'll like 6'6", so he'll choke slam your ass.
It's all those things. So, you know, I think that men try because that's what men do. You know, they feel like, well, it's all right. I literally had someone ask me out, and I was like, I'm sorry, I have a husband. They was like, oh, people still do that?
Oh, okay.
People still get me. So, you know, I've had someone try to holler, and I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm married. And they'd be like, well, me too. So, exactly.
I don't even say I'm sorry. No, thank you. I don't even give an excuse anymore. Like, why do I have to give an excuse to say no? Our society needs to be comfortable with rejection. I don't need to give you a reason. No, I don't need to tell you I have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, I'm celibate, none of it. If you're approaching me and I'm like, no, thank you, that should be enough. Goodbye, sir, ma'am.
It should.
I do still also think that the prettier you are, the crazier you attract. The prettier and thicker a woman is, the crazier men she attracts. Like you know, I do my stuff on relationships. You know, I have a documentary that's coming out. Some of y'all know. Swisyzinna is actually in it on healing Black love, relationships and shit. I'm just don't want the right people to pick that thing up. But we talking about in there, and it's like the prettier women, the voluptuous women attract. I study. I was like, women with big breasts and no booties attract a certain kind of men. Women with big booties and little breasts attract a certain kind of men. And then women who got all three face booty, they attract a certain type of man. And there's different levels of crazy when it comes to certain men. And remember we was talking about before we started how powerful the booty is. And it's like, and I'm not speaking to all men, because some men don't really trip about the body like that. But in the lustful matrix that we live in the lustful world we live in, men who are visual are usually driven by the beauty. So the more beautiful a woman is, depending on the man, he's going to try to live up to an illusion that he's not, just to live up, to try to be at a woman's standard. He may try to make himself believe but if a man who's good at talking can have that woman believe, especially if he's her style, if he's her look, and he gets her to believe that he might be a whole bum, but if he knows how to talk, he got a little whip or whatever, he could finesse his way to getting the pretty chick. And I see the finest ones usually get the dumbest niggas most times.
Well, just because you're pretty doesn't mean that you have self-esteem.
Exactly.
Just because you wake up looking the way you look doesn't mean that you woke up a whole person. You know, there are a lot of very pretty women who have very low self-esteem that don't believe their own worth, that they put their worth in their face, in their bodies, in their breasts, in their butt. And those are the women that you're talking about that say you end up with that type of guy. Because just because you're pretty doesn't mean that you have it all together.
Yes.
That's not what that means. That's it, and it's crazy to assume that. Yeah. You know, absolutely not.
And I can't believe a woman who gets her.
Go ahead.
It's just when you're secure, and when you're a secure woman, you know what you attract, and you know how to show that when it comes to the woman that you are. It's like, I'm not going to be dealing with a dumb guy. I'm not going to be dealing with a crazy guy. I know who you are from the jump. And that's when you're secure. And like she stated, the women that you are talking about are very insecure and they're desperate. So it's like, I got this fat ass. I got these big boobs. I want a man. I want some dick. You know, they're the desperate ones because they don't know their worth and they don't know what they're deserving of when it comes to a good man. No matter how pretty or how beautiful you are, it's just your worth. What do you know you're a queen or you're worth it? You know, you got to be secure. So I would disagree with you.
But that's the thing about pretty privilege. A lot of pretty girls think you can't tell them shit because they feel like pretty privileged. A lot of times girls think that the man that they choose is the rightful man for them. Because no woman likes to believe that they have bad choices in men. They don't like to believe that the dude that they're attracted to is not the right guy for him.
Well, that's just unfortunate because again, you're talking about a quality of woman that I just don't even. I don't know. I don't have conversations with. I haven't had. I don't have friends.
It'd be educated women that same way. It'd be women with master's degrees who because
it's not about education. It's not about. It's
Right.
not about a degree. It's not about being educated in that way. Everything that you're speaking about stems down to what we were speaking about earlier, and it's self-worth, self-acknowledgement, and being aware of who you are. If you're walking around feeling like I don't make bad decisions with men, but you have 15 relationships in the past 5 years, I don't know. Okay, girl, then you're doing great.
Right.
I mean, like some stuff, it just don't make sense to have that argument. Like, what do you mean you don't make bad choices in men? I just picked you up and he punched you in the face. How was that?
Right.
And to your point with earlier, no one can. You have to choose to listen to someone tell you all the things that come out their mouth and believe it.
Right.
If you a bum, I don't care what you're driving. If I look in your back seat and there's hangers and clothes, you're living out of your car. It doesn't matter how nice the car is.
Fact.
You know what I mean? If you'll never invite me to your home, if you have 15 roommates, it don't matter to me that you're driving a Bentley. That's why.
It's more
because you have 15 roommates. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things, but there are women who would say, but he drives a Bentley. Yes, for sure.
For sure. And that
spends all his time versus a house, and that'll make sense to me. So we aren't on the same financial level.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of bums that get around because they sling a dick because society has made it look like the man who could put it down, has power. Because it is power in the penis. It is power in the penis, but I also feel like if you're in control of your emotions and things like that, I can't speak as a woman, but I just think as human, if you're in control of that, you won't feel as attached because I've seen a lot of relationships where people like bad sex will stretch a great sex will stretch a bad relationship longer than it should go.
Depending on what level of emotional maturity you're at. Because I'll admit it, like when I was really young and I had certain, parts of me that lacked, and like I lacked confidence in certain decisions I had made as a young person. Because like I said, my testimony is that my first two, younger relationships were great actually. I made bad decisions, but the two Black men that I had, my first ones before my very dud ex-husband, like, I don't have that track record of like, oh, Black men ain't shit. No, I've had extraordinary Black men in my life, which is why when I decided to do the healing process and go back to dating, I wasn't all scorned like other Black women. I was like, wait, no.
So what didn't it work? What didn't work? What didn't you see in them that were great to you that you wanted to move forward with at that time?
Yes, the conversation that society doesn't teach us. They were great, extraordinary Black men. They just weren't mine. And at a young age, I realized that, like, you're amazing, but for some reason, I still don't want to marry you because you're not mine.
Wow.
And everybody says that, oh, good men don't, women don't want good men. It's not that we don't want you, but you might not be ours. You can be a great man and you just not be mine.
Right.
And so again,
I've actually told my ex that I'm sorry.
That's where we all don't understand rejection. Rejection is not a personal reflection of you. It just means you're not mine. Go keep being great somewhere else and go get you the great person meant for you.
Yeah.
My two exes,
I have an ex that I literally told him.
Amazing.
Yeah. I have an ex and I told him, I was like, you're going to make someone a great husband, just not me.
Exactly.
Just not me. It just doesn't, and we're great friends to this day. He's an awesome guy. Just not for me.
Right.
And that's
it didn't take anything away from him. It didn't take anything away from him. And if he brings anyone to me and introduces anyone to me, I'm like, he is awesome, right?
Oh,
he's a great guy. He just wasn't mine.
Exactly.
Like you said.
Mm-hmm. My one ex had written me. I think we had at that point been like, broken up 3-4 years. And he actually had a baby at that point. He was older at that point, and having some custody issues with the mother of his child because she wanted to move out of state and he was trying to establish custody. And he asked me to write a character letter. And I was like, hell yeah. And he asked me about relationship, but because of my stature, right? I was a social worker. I am a social worker. I have a master's degree. So it's like, I wrote this outstanding letter because I was like, if anybody, this man is a great father. Right. I know because when we were together, I knew he would have been a great father. So like I had no issue being like, I'll stand up in court for you. And he was out of state at the time. I'll fly there. Okay, Houston. Like what do I have to do? Because I know you're great.
Yes.
Right.
And if anything, you at least deserve 50% of your baby.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
So yeah, there was nothing wrong with him. He just wasn't mine.
Yeah. And that's awesome that you still had communication with him and you guys can still, you know, like you both said, you guys can still joke around, introduce each other to each other's mates and things like that, because that's needed too. And I feel like that's really healthy. Even though you guys weren't able to be meant to be together, you at least can remain friends and help one another and, you know, just be there.
Well, I'll be honest, we aren't friends because he was the first man in my life who kept it super real when we broke up. Because we tried to do that weird friend thing for a little bit, and he kind of, because we were engaged. I broke off an engagement, you know?
Wow.
And he said, Tiffany, I love you. I want you to be my wife. I don't know how to be just friends.
I don't want to be your friend, right?
Right. So he just kept it super funky fresh, and I said, okay. So we're cordial. We would still like, you know, email once a year, check in, or like every 6 months. But yeah, for him to just be honest with himself, like, I want to have babies with you in the future. How you be friends with someone you yearn for? He's like, I can't do that, right?
Yeah.
But it took a very in tune man to say that, like, girl, bye. I'm in love with you. Like, I'm not bitter.
And an honest one.
Like, yes. And I said, boo, okay. Whatever boundary you need, I respect it. So yeah, like we just email like once a year, catch up, and that's it. Because I respect it. Like, oh, if you wanted me to be your wife, that's dumb to think you're just gonna be my friend.
Right.
Thank you. So.
Okay.
You're muted, Jane.
Sorry about that. I said I don't really want to. I got old. I'm 36 now, so it's like I don't really be liking to be friends with women that I actually see myself really wanting to be with. If it's someone I want to smash or something, it'd be cool. I could be cool now, but if it's someone I seriously want to be with, you know, before I used to be friends, but then, you know, I kind of scorned and jaded from that because being friends with women that you actually see as someone you want to marry usually don't always work out in my favor, because it's like, because girls will like to keep you as a friend, but the whole time I'm like, I want to be your friend so we can build and trust each other. So when we build to that relationship, there's a trust there. But
do you say that?
Yeah,
you
but
say that in the beginning.
I'm Aries. We see what we like. I know any woman I meet, what level she is the first conversation. I could tell, oh, this is someone I could, for the first conversation, someone I could see, like, I could be a great wife. This might could be a great girlfriend, or I could just smash her. No, if I mess with her, she might come with bad energy.
I understand that you see that. I'm saying, are you expressing that to the women that you're dealing with?
Oh yeah, I've had, and it didn't necessarily work out that way. But I have, when y'all talking about being friends with dating and stuff. Like, I've been out here in LA 10.5 years, and I've dated quite a bit of women, and I'm friends with a lot of them now. And honestly, it seems like some of those friendships I'm closer with than ones I haven't slept with or whatever, because we had that bond. Because when you share an intimate bond with someone, and especially if it's like a real long time, years or something, you have to still remain friends and have respect for each other after, you know, that you build a different trust, you know. And I want to shout out those men, because there are some men that can respect women that they sleep with and things like that, and be friends, like you were saying. And, you know, I wish there was more men like that, but I like that though. I've had ex-girlfriends bring their man to my play that I just directed. I'm like, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? All love, man. Like, you brought him to my play and y'all paid ticket? You good. Give me love. Give me love. I'm hugging, brother. Give me love, brother, man. She's a good woman right here. Hey, did you enjoy the play? Thank you. You know, so yeah. That's what I care about. I didn't come to LA to burn bridges with women. Okay, things don't work out. Okay, cool. You will support me. I support you. I push your business. Yeah.
But I think that's about confidence and trust and self-esteem and being secure in your relationship. And not deciding that you can't be friends with your ex because the world has told you that it's not supposed to look that way, or that it doesn't make sense, you know. And we've talked about this. I think we talked about it in the doc. You know, my husband is he's still friends with some of his ex girlfriends. I'm still friends with some of my ex boyfriends. And there's just a respect level. If this is a friendship and there's respect there, then there's no issue. And it's going to be that way. It should, in my opinion, it should be that way, because I have my ex's mom, I call her my second mother. And she said to me, we don't throw away people who love us. There are because there are people in the world that genuinely love you, and there are people in the world who genuinely don't care anything about you.
Right.
And you shouldn't live your life in a place where you're like, now that this relationship is over, even though you're a great person, and it didn't end because you was whooping my ass or you were cursing me and it wasn't disrespectful, but we just grew apart or it didn't work out, or for whatever reason, if there's still love there, like genuine, I want to see you win type of situation. To Tiffany's point, I don't have to talk to you every day. It doesn't have to be extreme as we are, because we talk whenever we want. So, maybe it's 3 times in a month, maybe it's 3 times in a year. It just depends on whatever's going on in our, in whomever's life. But you shouldn't be in a position where society has told you, and mentally you're like, oh, we're not together. Everything is automatically cut off.
Right.
No one can be friends anymore. No, you can't. I don't want you to be friends with my friends anymore. Like I've been with you for years. We have, my friends at this point. Right. But we just live in a society that tells men that they're not manly and they ain't not puffing their chest out if they standing in a room with somebody else that has dated their woman. Like, how you can't do that. And most women aren't secure enough to stand next to another woman who has talked to her man, because every woman wants to believe that they're different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everyone want to believe they got the best sex ever. They be like, "Oh, my man come back." I'm like, I've never known a woman who ever said their sex was whack. I'm like, some of these dudes is lying, because all y'all can't have the best sex. Some of these dudes is lying. Every one of you got the best.
But you do, and people need to understand that there's compatibility with sex.
Right.
So just because if I sleep with someone and it didn't work out with us, it does not mean that he can't go sleep with somebody and it'll be the best and the most bang. Because we might not be compatible. Our bodies are different, size are different, shapes are different. How you fit is different. Yeah. But you have, again, self-awareness. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a thing, and it doesn't have to be negative. It just is. Yeah.
Right. And that's actually, you brought that up. It comes back to pretty girl privilege, because I know you were like, wanted us to speak towards that, and just like being friends with exes. Yeah, because of like when I choose to be single and when I'm being polyamorous and I consent, that's consensual multiple partners, that I ask to set rules and boundaries. And some people will say like, yeah, I don't care if you sleep with my friends or whatever. Cause one of my other sections is entertainment, right? Multimedia hosting, acting, that kind of thing. And the community becomes kind of small. You're close knit, you're seeing the same people at auditions, you're going to the same parties, you're doing the same projects together. So there's a certain group of people that we all, socialize. So of course you're going to double over on, maybe you slept with somebody and now a year later you don't realize, but you're connecting with the homeboy or whatever. And it's not necessarily intentional, but when you're in a certain social group, that's where you find your partners from, right? And I get this conversation a lot, like, oh, that one girl just only dates basketball players. Well, if you dated one basketball player and now you had all the lunches and you had all the brunches and you're hanging out with all the wives and the girlfriends, you tend to go to the same pool parties. Well, now that you guys broke up, that's your social system. So of course, you're probably likely to meet another basketball player. Right. It's not uncommon. And so, like I said, you have to deal with your ego.
What are you getting out of that basketball player?
Nothing.
Are you expecting something?
It's not even. It's not getting something. That just happens to be the social network you're with. And the people you're attracted to, they're attracted to you, you're attracted to them, and you just so happen to be in that social network. That's why I've never talked down to those people. Because I'm like, yeah, people will say, Tiff, oh, you like comedians, or you like actors, or you like athletes, were you a ball chaser? No, I just happened to get in a social network that gave me access to that, and that's who I was dating. Yeah,
those are your friends.
Yes. And when we stop dating, we're still friends. So my current partner's gonna meet a whole bunch of dudes because we still hang out. Right. And if you're not
Tiffany, that's the benefits of pretty privilege right there, because if I was like sleeping with someone that look as fine as you too, I'd be fine being your friend too. You know, because that opening to always be able to get you is probably always there. So yeah, you're fine.
Wait. Did you say stay in the
correct yourself?
Are you saying
when the
right?
door closed with Tiff Talk, you ain't getting back in here, sir.
Okay.
You can say in your head if you're an
gone.
unhealthy man and if you're disrespectful. So let's address that very quick, James. That mindset is unhealthy disrespect.
Absolutely.
If you choose to think you're a satellite and you're just being my friend to hang out to think you're going to smash again, that's your problem.
And you're not my friend. And you're not my friend.
Exactly.
And that comes with the security with that woman too. That comes with the
you're not my friend
like,
if you're doing that.
Well, a lot of guys really ain't that women's friends, you know? Like, there's guys that are women's friends, but there's some that will befriend you for years for the opportunity to hit. Like, you can never underestimate the lengths men go through for some cheats.
Right, but I'm calling my friends.
Right.
I know some of those people exist in my life. I would be delusional to think that they don't exist, but I know where you really are in my head, and I know what amount of access I allow you to have. I know there's certain men who think like, oh, they might still smash, or this is the kind of relationship we have. That's not it, and that's why I don't hang out in private settings with you. That's why I only be in social settings. That's why we only do podcasts together and we don't actually see each other.
Right.
Because you don't respect me or my current relationships.
Right.
Right.
And that's why we're not together now.
That's not a shot to me because I never came on to Tiffany. Me and Tiffany always been cool. Because you said podcast, so they're gonna be like, let's get that.
No, I think we know.
No, because Tiffany is a gorgeous woman, but I always got, this is my nigga vibe. So it's like, I as fine as she is, I just never was just like, not saying she would give me a chance. Not anyways, just like, she was just always solid, She was always solid, and it's dope. And I'm glad these relationships, it's crazy in this LA journey and the relationships you meet and build, because you never know where these relationships would go. Who would have knew from the Real Network, Tiff, we'd be 5 years later on a podcast? But we were supposed to do a daggone movie that never worked out, and now we've been on the podcast. You're my documentary and shit like that. It's like you just never know the relationship. That's why I'm one of those, like, especially when it comes to dating. A lot of people don't date spiritually. Like I'm a lustful guy. We all got our lust, but I've always, especially when it comes to relationships, it's always been like a spiritual connection. Like I don't just make girlfriends. Like I have women that I sleep with and slept with and things like that. That don't mean they're gonna be my girlfriend. There are women I know that would be my girlfriend, would be my wife, but at the same time, I've learned, over the years, what's meant for me will be for me, and things gotta align for that to happen. And my problem always was trying to, this weird boy struggles is like I'm the good guy, but it was like I kept trying to prove it, like, give me a chance, I'm a good dude, I treat you right, I fuck you just as good as them, and that shit don't really work out, so it don't. It's like, and as a brother, that's why I said pretty privileged. And I was telling my friend, like one of my best friends, because she's a gorgeous woman, I tell her, because I was like, she could get away with being weird. Pretty women can get away with doing weird as shit because she's gorgeous. But a brother like me can act out or do some weird shit, because, I'm going to get labeled like, who's this weird dude? This dude's goofy, so what's wrong with him? And stuff like that. But a girl could be the same way. The dude still be like, man, I'll still fuck.
Yeah, but that's not they will still fuck. They will fuck. They will be with her. They will fuck on her. And I think that is the difference, because when you're dealing with a woman who you think is so pretty or pretty privileged, I feel like you're going to try to take advantage. You're going to try to be like, let me try to smash that. It's that ego thing that you men have. But I do also think that, like you stated, a man knows when a woman is a wife or a girlfriend, but it doesn't matter how pretty she is. You guys still want to have sex. That's what men do.
I also think,
and it's not a benefit to us. I just want to say this for the world. It's not a benefit to us that you're like, I'll still smash. Like that's not attractive.
Cute.
It's
not a benefit.
Usually the ones that, because a lot of times a woman be like, well, why you get, because I've had women be like, well, if you be like, why did you give that guy a chance? Like, well, he came up to me. He was confident enough. So it's like, sometimes women want that approach, and sometimes the men who ain't shit are confident enough because they believe the shit that they talking. So a guy who may actually mean well may not have that same appeal as the guy who's up in her face is giving her, so she may not be seeing him like that as the dude that's in her face. So she's like, man, maybe he really likes me because he just keeps commenting the whole time. He's like, man, I'm gonna get that pussy. I'm gonna get that pussy. But yeah, girl, you know, you're the best. Yeah, girl, you know.
The women you describe are clearly on a reality TV show somewhere.
Absolutely.
That are going through.
I disagree,
Or
because
they're
it could be your most
different or
educated.
something.
It's educated women too. It's
But you
not
keep
about-
saying educated. We're not saying it doesn't, because you're on reality TV. First of all, does not mean you're not educated. I know a lot of women
'cause
that have been on reality television that have a degree. That's not what we're saying.
Right.
I'm talking about the mind frame.
Absolutely.
The mind frame of the women that you're speaking about is completely different. I think that it would be helpful for you to actually have those type of women on your show to understand why they think the way that they think, because we're going to oppose that thought process because we don't think
they're too
that
ignorant.
way.
They're too shallow-minded to do a podcast. I try to get girls like that on podcast.
Because I do know women who are very much so bodily conscious, very like Instagram famous type of women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they do most things based off of their sexuality and sensuality and what they can get. I know those women. I also know that those women are only wanting a certain type of guy because you need a guy who is attracted to that type of image and that type of Instagram fame. Otherwise, you ruin everything they have set up.
Yeah.
So the guy who is going after the girl who doesn't mind her boobs out every day, all day, and shorts up her butt every day, all day, needs that kind of woman in order for there to be a relationship that works. Because the type of man that's opposite of that is going to attempt to shut that down.
Yes.
So you have to be with a person that would allow the woman to be the exact type of woman that she's trying to be.
Right.
And it doesn't mean
relationship is compliment.
So, exactly. Yes. So whether he's a quote unquote good dude or a weird dude or the corny dude or whatever kind of dude that he is, it has to be the dude that matches the energy that she's putting out. And it doesn't mean that the relationship is going to work, but it does mean that both of those people are in those places to be in that relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that, Swisyzinna.
And he said that so good. You be talking about these certain kind of women, but you be bringing women like us on, and we can't speak for them.
Right.
Right. Have that mindset. You want us to give you insight into the women that we aren't.
But no. Also, but I want your insight. So if these women happen to come across this, or when I push it and things like that, because people watch it when I be posting the clips on my Instagram and stuff, I got a lot of views. And I post a little clips and stuff. So when people watch it, not hopefully, because I've learned that these content actually be, because I'll send it to people, even Keel, like, oh, interesting. Like, she seemed like she'd been intrigued with some of the topics that she's looked at on the page. And I've noticed that people, and not everybody comments on the videos, but they'll hit me in the inbox like, that was a good segment. And sometimes like, can you just write that on the comments? But I kind of don't want to make nobody do that. So I was just like, thank you. You know, but I also would say is like, when it came to like, I never been the most stylish dude, and it came from, growing up through poverty and stuff and being looked down on. So I kind of was like, what, I don't want to be that flashy guy, because flashy guys only attract a certain kind of women. I don't want a woman to just see me for her way I dress. So I would carry myself a certain way at a certain point. And it had its disadvantages, but it worked out because I didn't always have all the girls, but I always had like these flies, like, how the fuck JT get that joint? She fat as shit. I've been trying to get that joint. How the fuck you get her? And one thing I learned over the years, this is from high school to college to LA. I've dated some actresses and stuff. Like, you was with that? I was like, chill, and people like, what you do, because you don't got the swag or just this and that. And a lot of times I've learned that sometimes women, especially real pretty ones, just want to be with somebody that can be themselves around. There ain't too many guys that can be themselves around because they're too busy looking at how beautiful she is, how sexy she is, and how like they want to fuck her so bad that they don't get time to get to really know her. And they are trying to know her. They're not really listening because they're just trying to get to where they want to get to. So someone like me that's so engaging and just like really want to know And sometimes that I've learned, even with my son's mother, like she cursed me for like 2 years before she gave me a chance, you know, and, you know, after like 5 years of, you know, we started with a fling, then we ended up living together, and it was just crazy. And it was just like, you know, and it's like, I usually get the opportunities when I do, it's like, people are like, what did you see? And what did she see in you? And a lot of times chicks just want to be themselves. And a lot of men don't allow the fine ones to be themselves. But then you got women who are confident in themselves, like Swiss and Tiff, like, you're so confident in yourself that, you know, people are going to embrace that because because they ain't got no choice because you got such strong presence. It's like, this is me. This is me. I gotta, I didn't read it. I know we're going to wrap this up. I know it's rambling.
Oh no, I was just saying I can't speak for like Swisyzinna and for, you know, Keel, but what you're saying applies to every one of us. Every single person wants to be able to be authentically just themselves in a relationship. Right. That's pretty girls or otherwise. That's men, women, everybody. And that is definitely the pillar to any good relationship, is being comfortable being yourself. You know, so I don't think that's not, you know, reserved to pretty girls or muscular guys or men with money or celebrities. Every single person, that's what, when you look at a relationship maybe and you don't superficially see what's going on, like, you know, at first people are like, oh, Beyonce's prettier than Jay-Z, but they got something in common, and it's probably the fact that she's silly behind closed doors.
Exactly.
She's real silly. Silly like me, silly like you. Everybody thinks I tell everybody, they hit me in the DMs like, oh my gosh, you're so, you know, conscious or thick and working out and whatever, got it together. I'm like, I'm weird. I'm a straight weirdo. Like all this conscious talk or whatever, I'm a straight weird ass person behind closed doors. Like period, right? And my partner, like that's what makes me feel great. Like you know, all the weirdness, just be texting me later like, but I like it. Like, well, good, it ain't going nowhere.
That's the benefit of the pretty privilege, though.
And that's the thing. Like the people who DM me, they be like, oh, I want a Tiff Talk. No, you don't. Because the average person can't handle it. And I know that. I tell people I'm much with the muchness. I know I'm not for everybody. Like on paper, I look like for a lot of people, but my weird is a different kind of weird, and that's only for a certain kind of person.
Right. Exactly. And I tell people all the time, they'll say, man, if I was with you, and I'd be like, you don't even know me. You have no idea the level of crazy you have to deal with to be with me every single day. Like every day. They're looking at how you look. They're looking at how you look. And I get that, but that's not enough. Yes. That's not enough. So it's up to me to be like, oh, you think I'm cute? Because after a while, when you're an adult, you've been told you were pretty for a very long time. That's nothing new. That's not surprising. You're not telling me anything that no one's ever said. Right. You're not coming at me any differently than anybody else. Right. You're not. Oh, you're so beautiful, man. You look so good. I love your lips, man. Your eyes. Right. How old I am? You think you're the first person that ever came out their mouth and said something silly. I get it. Right. I get it. I've been looking like this my whole life. I get it. Mm-hmm. So when men come to me and they say stuff like, man, your husband's so lucky to be with you, I always say, no, I'm the lucky one.
Okay, yes.
Because let's be clear. Yes. Let's be clear. This is just a little while. You know, I hope to hold on to it for as long as I possibly can. Right. But somebody who just want to roll up because for pretty privilege, then I'm definitely not that chick, because I'm bored with you already. I'm bored with you at the salutations. Absolutely. I'm like, that, oh, sweetheart, I'm already done. You don't even know me. And you gave me a pet name. You're silly.
Mm-hmm. That's why I told you social media is social media, because you see me on social media, but you don't know who I am in reality and in person. I'm a whole different type of woman that you can imagine, you know, so that matters. That matters. But I do want to tell you too, also, I really hope you do find the woman, because listening to your story about how, you know, you went through those ups and downs in your relationship with the women that you were dealing with. I really do hope you do find a woman that is secure and will actually love you right and love herself. So you don't have to continue to keep going through this cycle with the women who are not secure with themselves. Because those women that you think do have those pretty privileges, they can take advantage of certain men, but those certain men are not good for them. And they're the ones that's continue to get damaged and not knowing their worth and, keep dealing with men who are not good for them. But if you do consider yourself a good man, I really hope you do truly find a woman that is secure enough to equal you out. I really do.
And I want you to start telling the truth at the beginning too. Yeah. I just want to smash. I want to be your friend. I'll stay around long enough. I'll stay around long enough to see where this goes. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
But a lot of women say that's too direct though. They're like, you're giving too much too fast. I'm like, so you want to speak to this nigga?
I didn't say anything about your past.
For you.
I didn't say anything about your past. I was talking about your future. When you sit down and you speak to a woman, you need to present what it is that you want. If it doesn't work out, she's not for you. Period. I used to tell men all the time, I never dated anyone who's pursued me first. Ever. I don't need you to. I already decided if I like you. I don't need you to come tell. I don't need you to come tell me anything. That's who I was. I have to, and it can be looked upon however it wants to be looked at. However, when you sit down and have a conversation with someone, because I used to be a serial dater. I used to tell people I'm dating everybody because I decided I woke up one day and decided I wanted to be married. That's just what happened. I didn't ever think I was going to be married. I thought I was going to be single forever. I was a player out there in them streets. I had my jersey was raggedy. I'm talking about I was out there. Right? I woke up one day.
You know what I'm talking about. Okay. Roster, you on the team or not on my team?
Okay. So I woke up one day and I was like, okay, I'm done now. I'm ready to get married.
I'm ready.
Good for you.
I'm ready.
That's
what it was.
Knowing who you are and know what you want.
And so I became a serial dater. I started dating everybody.
But it's not. That has nothing to do with pretty privilege.
That's confidence because I know some very.
Wake up and say, I want to get married, and just drop it down to spec a man.
That's manifestation.
That's
right. She's not saying like, she's saying
that's manifestation. Right. That's me. I can change my life about any. I can wake up tomorrow and say I want to be vegan. That ain't got nothing to do with being free. That's a decision. Right. I made a decision for my life. And I was done.
So that she's secure with herself.
Yeah, I was done doing what I was doing, and I was like, now it's time.
What is
you just do it? Yeah, I was like, okay, now I want to get married, and I just manifested. I started telling my friends I'm getting married. They was like, to who? I was like, I don't know.
Somebody. I don't think Jeff Bezos' wife, ex-wife, or Nancy Gates, neither one of those two women are particularly attractive to me. But they're not going to be the richest women in the world. And
exactly.
To be the richest men. Like, it don't have to do anything with your looks when it comes to setting boundaries and manifesting.
Absolutely.
That's right.
But again, my challenge to you, James, is that we've had this conversation off camera is, again, common denominator. If you keep having the same kind of relationships, the only thing you can change is you. Instead of having conversations about what women need to change, what can you change about yourself to get a different result in the relationships you're having?
Well, 2021 James dating has actually been great because, I seems like, I guess because I don't press for women's love, because I got my son's love. Having a baby is so life-changing. It's like, I used to be like, man, I want to be with this girl. Now, somebody want me, I'm like, I've learned that it's going to be more their loss than mine because it's very few men like me. It's a lot of piece of shit niggas. So you can keep picking them piece of shit niggas, but you're going to miss the valuable motherfucker like me. So, and I got somebody who looks at me at adoration. Like, you got a baby that looks at you with so much adoration, it changes your life. Like, I was like, if I had a woman looked at me the way my son looked at me, I'll be married right now. I was like, damn, so much joy.
You need to look at yourself like your son look at you.
Exactly. That's
I do now. That's why, but I do now. Let me be real. I always felt that way inside. I just didn't carry it on the outside as much because I'm not blaming it, but I allowed others to make me feel I wasn't good enough. I wasn't the man that they felt I should be. I allowed that. I don't blame nobody. That's myself. I allow people over the years to say, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not tall enough. You're not dark enough. You ain't got enough money enough.
I'm going to wrap this thing up real quick because I got to jump off, but I want to say this before I go. Confidence is half the battle. That's why the people that you talk about, you like, and everybody falls for it. Confidence will get you through most doors. Just showing up in your splendor, like this is me. I know some women, I know some very unphotogenic women that has amazing confidence. And I have seen them out. And I just be like, I was younger. I just be like, these girls are pulling.
Mm-hmm.
They are pulling.
Mm-hmm.
And it has nothing to do with pretty. I'm talking about not even on the spectrum of pretty, but they confidence. Man, you killing the game. Exactly. And that's where it is. That's where it is.
Yeah.
So
ladies, thank you guys for jumping on and taking our Sunday off away from your busy lives to talk to a brother. You know, there's a lot of changes going on with the podcast, so it's like gonna be different guests, different weeks and things like that. You know, shout out to Cairo and Amani. We love each other, you know, but this one started as a passion project, but this is now something that has landed me another gig. Like, you're gonna see me on the app that's gonna launch soon, and I'm gonna be part of
nice. Congratulations.
Doing love and relationship stuff, talking this shit, all because somebody saw my podcast and reached out to me through email. Nice. And they offered me, and they talking about some nice pay. I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm down to talk about what I talk about all the time. Sign me up. So I'll keep you updated on that when the app launches and shit like that. You know, thank you ladies for jumping on. Swisyzinna, Tiff, Keel. Any last words before we get out of here?
Thank you so much for having me. It was amazing, and it was so nice meeting you, lovely, lovely ladies. And I just wish nothing but the best for all of you, especially you. And thank you for this. I had a good time.
Yeah, thank you, ladies. The glow up is real. You know, Black women, great communication with a Black man leading it. I'm not upset at all. So great job to everyone. I will look for you, and I will follow you guys.
Yes.
I would tag y'all, make sure y'all connect and things like that, you know.
Sounds good. Okay.
Thank y'all for tapping into the Authentic Podcast with Chicken Nerds. I'm JT, special guest host, Swisyzinna, TiffTalkTV, with our guest, Miss Keel. Thank you guys, and we signing off, baby.